I want to talk about something I've mostly stayed away from. I want to talk about my opponent and current alderman, Scott Lennon. Now, up to this point, I haven't talked about Scott much because I think it's more important for people to vote for me and what I'm bringing to the table instead of simply just against him. But people need to be informed because if nothing seems wrong, then why change? Scott's been the First Ward Alderman for the last 8 years, and that history tells us a lot, not only about what he's done, but also about what we can expect if he stays in office. So I decided to take a deep dive into his voting record. Voting is one of the most important parts of being an alderman. It directly shapes Berwyn because you're voting on stuff like laws and budgets and city projects and stuff. So I went through every vote over the last 8 years where there was any disagreement. Any time when at least one alder voted differently from the rest. To me, these moments reveal a person's true priorities and values. And here's what I found. With just one exception, Scott has voted 100% of the time with the majority. And that means that he's voted in complete lockstep with the mayor and the alders in the mayor's political group who control 5 out of the 8 seats on city council. And boy, do they march in unison. In any case, I'm gonna get to that one exception in a second because it's something. But first, it's worth mentioning a few key votes where Scott sided with the mayor's majority. For example, he voted to increase his own salary by 275%.
Lennon.
Aye.
He voted to approve video gambling terminals in the city. He voted to raise the tax levy every year. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. The only year it didn't go up? This year. That's strange how it lined up with an election year. And this one got me. When the city was deciding whether to switch trash and recycling companies last year, he did this.
Option 2, which is enter negotiations with SBC Waste Solutions for a 5-year contract. All those in favor, I'm gonna call the roll.
Pass.
Nay.
Yes. Nay. Yes.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
5 ayes, Mayor.
Back to Alderman Lennon.
Aye.
I've never seen that before. He delayed his vote so he could hear everybody else's first, and then join the majority. That doesn't exactly scream confident leadership. But let's talk about the one time Scott broke from the pack. It was way back in 2017 during his first year as alderman. Now, unfortunately, we don't have any video of this because Berwyn didn't start live streaming meetings until 2020. But that night, the council voted on raising the minimum age to buy tobacco products from 18 to 21. Scott was the only one who voted against raising the age limit. Now for context, by the time Berwyn was voting on this, the movement to raise the tobacco age to 21 was already huge across the country. Hundreds of cities and multiple states had already made this change because the evidence was clear. It worked. Just 2 years later, the federal government followed suit and made 21 the national minimum. This wasn't some radical idea, it was the direction the country was already heading in. Yet somehow, Scott thought that Berwyn should go against the tide, ignore public health experts, and keep cigarettes and vapes more accessible to teens. And as a smoker himself, Scott should have understood better than anyone how nicotine can get its hooks in you, especially when you start young. But he voted no. He voted against a policy that saves lives. And that's not an exaggeration. We all make our own choices. And this upcoming Tuesday, you have a choice. Do you want someone who always votes with the mayor except for this one terrible exception? Or do you elect someone who represents you and stands for progress? I hope you'll vote for me on the 25th because Berwyn needs a new direction. And that's what I hope to bring as alderman. Thanks for listening to me, and please, go vote.